City Manager.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Hill.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Mervin.
Yes.
Sergeant at Arms.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Call this workshop Tuesday, November the 28th, 2017 at 6:04 p.m. to order. May we stand for the invocation given by Reverend Smart, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Precious Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening with prayers, with requests for our city, our city council. We ask you, Lord, to be with us in this meeting. Guide our city manager and our mayor and council members, that they may do what is right for this city, that it may be strengthened in your power. We thank you for the people of this town, for the wonderful businesses that we do have, and the opportunities to have more businesses. We give this prayer in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab,
Present.
Vice Mayor Holmes, Commissioner Hill,
Present.
Commissioner Mervin,
Present.
Commissioner Walker, City Manager,
Here.
City Attorney,
Here.
Deputy Friedman,
Here.
City Clerk, present.
And could you go back to the Vice Mayor? He's here.
Yeah, I was outside helping Commissioner Walker.
Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Reverend Smart, for the invocation, and thank each of you all for being here tonight to take part in our workshop in our City Commission meeting. We do have special guests, our lobbying firm, which Chandler will be introducing a little later. We do have a agreement that we're going to be entertaining later on in our regular commission meeting to extend their services for the city of Pahokee. By the way, they did an excellent job this year in Tallahassee for us, and we really appreciate that. We're going to move into our topic, which is the topic of our agenda, and I'm going to do this a little different than I normally been doing it. I normally let our city manager kind of lead us in the agenda topic, but I'm going to take a shot at doing it tonight. Some folks say I should do it, and we have a teamwork here, so we do things just a little different. But we're going to go down the agenda and just see if there's any preliminary discussion, any clarification that's needed, any comments by the commission, and we'll just move right along the agenda line. The first is the addition, deletion, and approval of the agenda items. I understand we're going to have 3 add-on this afternoon. The first one is going to be a resolution 2017-35, and that would be the lobbying contract. The second add-on would be resolution 2017-36 would be a budget amendment. Let's take a look at that before moving on. We'll have our city manager kind of just give us a little highlight of what that resolution will pertain.
Thank you. Good evening, cities of Pahokee, residents, friends, visitors. 2017-36 budget amendment. What we try to do is be in compliance with our auditors, and when they're doing their reviews of our financial records, typically they want to ensure that we have accounted for all of our revenue. This year we were very fortunate, like many other cities, to be under the surtax portfolio, where we're receiving specific funds for future projects here in Pahokee. And so when we get new revenue that's not a part of our our typical budget year, we have to add that as a budget amendment to our budget as additional revenue. So that's one of the amendments. In addition, last year when we completed phase 2 or resurfacing, that was added revenue to the budget as well. Even though it's a reimbursement, it shows on our account as a revenue stream because we got reimbursed. So we have to come into compliance and do a annual budget amendment on a quarterly basis now for those things that occur in those natures. So it's just a formality, but it keeps us in compliance with our auditors. So when they come back at the end of the year, they can notate that and they can see that on the budget, and we can be in compliance with our auditors. So that's what the budget amendment is for.
Let's go back to Resolution 2017-35 challenge. Just give us a little information on the auditing firm. Not auditing firm, but the lobbying firm.
As previously mentioned by the mayor, this is just our annual contract that we're renewing with our lobbying firm. They've been very successful working on behalf of the city of Pahokee. As you know, we were very successful this past year in securing an X amount of dollars for a couple of projects, and so we are excited to keep them on board with the city of Pahokee. They're well experienced in the environment in Tallahassee. We work well together in Tallahassee, as we all know. They have the expertise that moves our agenda there when we're not available to speak with elected officials in Tallahassee. They'll be coming up briefly here, Mayor and Commission, if you care for them to give you an update. It's going to be about a 5-10 minute update on 2017 and what will be occurring in 2018 legislative session if it pleases the Commission. Okay. So this 2017-35 is just their annual contract that we will be renewing for 2018 season.
Okay, and the next add-on would be Resolution 2017-37. That's in support of the Herbert Huber Dyke repairs. You can expound on that just briefly.
That is a resolution that is circulating in the Glades for support of Fix the Dyke repairs. It was generated by one of the local interest groups, and we are going to do our part in doing our resolution to show our support for wanting to fix the remaining repairs to the dike. South Bay and Belglade have already completed their resolutions, and so it's our turn to ensure that we're part of that support group as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. Are there any questions from the commission pertaining to any of these three resolutions? Any clarification needed?
I don't have no question, Mayor, but I do have an add-on.
Okay, what would be your add-on?
Add-on to see if we can rename East Main Street to
Mel Tillis,
Mel Tillis Avenue. Thank you.
Mel Tillis Boulevard.
Boulevard.
Okay, we will put that under, and this would have to be approved during the regular commission meeting, but we're gonna note it, add-on Mel Tillis, East Main.
East Main, yes.
Okay, and we'll put that on the new business. That would be actually the third item since we got 1 and 2 already. Okay. Any additional polls, add-ons? Okay, we're gonna move along. Any particular public service announcement that anybody will be announcing outside of the audience, the residents? Any public service announcements from the commission?
Yes, Mayor, there is one public service announcement as far as just learned of tonight that there's going to be a committee they're forming trying to do something for the football team that I guess trying to have like a little celebration for them. And I guess what I was told that they will be coming to see the city manager on tomorrow to see can they try to do something to try to have a celebration for the boys on December the 9th.
Okay. Okay, next would be the approval of the November 13 regular scheduled commission meeting. Any questions on that? Okay, we don't have any consent agenda items. We do have an ordinance, first reading, ordinance 2017-9. City Attorney, you just want to kind of highlight what's that ordinance about?
Mr. Mayor, to change any wording in the city charter, it requires a referendum and a vote by the majority of the electors in the city. And this ordinance proposes that a vote occur at your next election. And the purpose is to fix the language in the charter regarding when a vice mayor is selected. So the vice mayor is selected at a certain time each, excuse me, I think it's after each election or each year. Annually. The problem was it read after each election, and some years didn't have an election, so there was a question whether or not you should change the vice mayor. So now it will read yearly.
Okay. Then we have the 3 resolution, which we already have talked about briefly. Next, we have a public hearing on ordinance 2017-08. Could you explain that, City Attorney?
I'm sorry, I'm not too organized tonight.
Okay.
This is a change that was also recommended by your Charter Review Commission that changes the way the clerk is reviewed each year. So now the clerk will be reviewed by both the manager and the city commission at the end of each year.
Okay. Thank you. That's going to be a second reading and a public hearing, so the residents have a chance to speak on that if they so choose to. Any question from the city commission on that particular ordinance? Okay. I'm going to move down. We don't have any proclamations. There will be a presentation. We're going to present. Go ahead.
The mail tellers, there is a proclamation for mail tellers
Okay.
tonight.
Move it up from presentation.
We're gonna move that up from presentation,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, then we have the mayor's report. I'll just go through some of my highlights. I'm very excited by the renovations of our chamber and the opportunity to have live streaming. I reviewed that last commission meeting. It was excellent. I think that's a great tool for our residents when they are not able to make our city commission meeting, that they can review at their leisure in their home or business or wherever they may be, the commission meetings. So I think that's a great enhancement, and I think they're gonna help us move forward in a good way. Also, I'd like to wish all the candidates running in the March 18 election success. We do have 2 seats that's being opposed. Benny Everett has filed to run against the incumbent Nathaniel Holmes, and Sarah Perez has filed to run against incumbent Commissioner Felicia Hill. So we will be having an election in March, and since it's only 2 in each seat, we won't be having a runoff by any means. Also, myself and Commissioner Mervin attended the National League of Cities annual city summit in Charlotte, North Carolina. Over 3,000 attendees attended that. That's one of the largest gatherings of elected officials in the country. We heard from experts on economic development, public safety, transportation, sustainability, and other critical issues that's critical to our city moving forward. It was well attended. Also, Belglade Mayor and Vice Mayor were there. South Bay Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Manager were there. And Belglade also had some staff there. So the Glades was well represented at the conference. I'm also excited to know that we'll be erecting our first entranceway sign very soon. I know Chandler gonna mention that again at during his comments, but I'm really excited. That's something I think myself and others have been really looking forward to for the last 20 years. I think the sign we had was great, but it's been there for 30 years, and it's nothing like coming home and having a nice entrance sign. I think that's something we can all be proud of once it is erected. I certainly like to see a flag, and I'm quite sure it's one in the planning behind the entrance sign, and a more attracted beautification as far as shrubbery and plants and things like that around it. But I think you'll be well pleased at the final results of that. Also, in conjunction with the city of Pahokee, the Palm Beach County Fire Department, we gave away 75 turkeys during the holiday season to seniors and needed family. So that was a nice Thanksgiving gesture on part of the city and the fire rescue. In addition to that, Pahokee Church of God is asking the city to participate in a Feed the Community Day on December the 2nd. And they asking to only do maybe hot dogs or hamburgers. They're gonna be feeding, so I would hope that we'll be able to at least participate in that. I certainly would take part in it, and encourage all the other commissioners, if they're available, to come out and let's feed our community, assist in feeding our community.
What date?
Also, December the 1st, the 2nd, on the Saturday, yes, December the 2nd. And it's gonna be from 9 to approximately 1 o'clock. Also, the student ACES program, they spoke here at our last commissioner meeting. They are looking for a partner to help some needy families in the community of Pahokee, some youth and their families. They want to provide maybe a Christmas dinner and maybe some gift cards or some gift to the residents. I don't know, they're looking for a group that will want to partner with them, sit down and kind of plan it. I kind of mentioned the city, just putting that out to see if the city may be interested. I talked about maybe the Muck Boys and maybe a fraternity or a local church. But if you know of someone or you may be interested, let me know so I can get that information back to Buck Martinez so they can plan on doing that this year for our community. Also coming up, we have our Tri-City annual barbecue that's gonna be hosted by the city of Belglade. It's a Tri-City event sponsored by Pahokee, Belglade, and South Bay. That's a well-attended annual event. We held it last year here in Pahokee. It's a great turnout, and we look forward to working with Belglade and South Bay and making sure that's successful. I also would be participating in a District 6 Mayor's Roundtable on tomorrow. This is going to be held in the city of Wellington and hosted by our new Palm Beach County Mayor, Melissa McKinley. And that's the summary of my mayor's report. We're gonna move into our city manager report, let him give some highlights of his report.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Took some of my thunder away, the entryway sign. I guess I'll address that first. We have been patiently waiting to do some landscaping and street side improvements here, entryways into the city of Pahokee. So our new entryway sign is prepared to be delivered on December 12th, I believe. However, we must do some prepping of that land first. So they'll be coming out and preparing the first cement slab on the 11th. They'll probably deliver the sign on the 13th, because that's a set for at least 48 hours. And we would like to do an unveiling, if you could pull your calendars out, commissioners. We'd like to do an unveiling on December 15th, if that fits everyone's calendar. An unveiling of the new entryway sign on Bacon Point Road.
What time you suggesting?
I would suggest maybe 10 a.m. if not too early.
December 15th, that's a Friday,
Yes, sir.
third Friday.
I've seen the sign already. It's a wonderful sign. It's a big one, and definitely will get the attention of our visitors, residents coming into town on Bacon Point Road. It's not the only one we're going to erect. It's the first, location that we could easily get access to, and it's a large area. If you know where the current sign is on Bacon Point Road, that's a corner section of the highway that splits off and goes towards the airport. But it's certainly it's going to be a sight to see when they put that up there, because it's a gorgeous sign. And it certainly announces your entryway into coming into this city. And we hope that that sign carries over into all these projects that we have coming as well. But you'll be very proud of what that sign represents for this city and for you as residents
Chandler,
moving
we're gonna be
forward.
working with a landscaper to do the,
We'll be doing all the landscaping ourselves. Alvin's group, he's walking in now. Alvin's team is really good about how they prepare landscaping, and that's going to be on them to prepare parts of that area. We may put some additional funds into some beautification. Right now, we have to do a lot of prepping because there are 2 tall trees there that we have to completely remove. And so we're going to add a really nice landscape plan to
did you
that.
say
So
2 or few? Because to
2
me,
trees.
most all of those things need to be removed. I don't know how you're gonna be able
It-
to.
it'll be worth the presentation. I promise you that.
I'm a critic on landscaping, so I hope you're up to the task.
Our Christmas giveaway, toy giveaway, is December 19th. We'll be collecting toys for that giveaway. That's an annual event here in the city of Pahokee. The hospital RFP, we did extend that for 30 days. That closed on November 14th, I believe. We only got that one response, and as promised, we kept to our word that we were going to open that response. I will be providing that information to the city attorney. He's going to review it for the legal aspects, and if all goes well, we'll be making a recommendation here at the next commission meeting, hopefully, on the sale of the old hospital. We know that's been a thorn in our side here for quite some time, and we feel confident that we can move forward with that entity to either get it renovated, demolished, and bring it up to code or bring it up to standards of a healthcare center that we can all be proud of. So we closed on that, so we're excited about that. And again, the city attorney will review that proposal, make sure it meets all our specifications, and then we'll come back on the next commission meeting and have a conversation about moving forward as far as sale of that hospital to that particular entity. That's about it. I thought we would have a little bit more time to get our lobbying group up to do a quick presentation. We can wait on that. It's close to 6:30, Mayor, at this time, so I'll hold off the additional comments until regular commission meeting.
Okay, great, thank you. Just want to remind the commissioner, we will be appointing the zoning adjustment and planning board members, so I hope that you had some time to kind of think about those appointments. We're either going to renew or actually replace or appoint new people. I think we got at least 2 or 3 new applications. I also want to mention to Vice Mayor Holmes, you should be selecting the 2 new businesses for the business of the month. I don't know if you have that, but if you don't, certainly hopefully by the next commission
Next
meeting.
one. Also, I would like to, how about the asbestos in the old hospital?
That, Vice Mayor, that was assessed in the efforts to get to the point where we could do the sale of the old hospital. It's already been completed. Yeah, we have that. That was done by the county. No, it would have to be first. That would have to first be removed. That had to be mitigated first by that entity coming in there. But it was already assessed by the county.
Okay, so, in other words, we have someone coming to inherit all of this?
Whoever buys that entity would inherit the removal of the asbestos if they decide not to demolish.
Well, I can tell you, they probably won't buy it. We need to just tear it down, man. We've been going through this for 20 years.
Well, that wasn't presented in their proposal that they wouldn't buy it because of that. And I'll have the attorney, Vice Mayor, read the entire proposal to make sure that that's not an issue. If it is, that's something that we'll go back to the county and address directly. But I'm confident that we can find the opportunities and the fiscal matters to get that mitigated fairly quickly to move forward with a sale.
Because any intelligent person wouldn't buy a piece of property that this kind of stuff is involved in it, you know. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be difficult for them buying this, I know. Very
Okay.
difficult.
Yes, sir.
Listen,
All right. We'll do our due diligence there, Vice Mayor, and make sure that they're on board with that. They understand what they're inheriting.
the person that is interested in it is, have they been having back and forth meetings with us?
No, sir. We had to, it's a cone of silence until we open up that package. We just opened it up this week. It was delivered to us on yesterday. We opened it up yesterday. We reviewed it. We're going to be handing it off to the attorney, and then he'll start his conversations so he can come back and make a recommendation to the commission. So he'll get that
So
package.
we're still at step one in that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But the good thing, Vice Mayor, is we only got one bid. They want to purchase it, and we're going to move forward if they're, that interested to purchase the property. I scanned briefly over the presentation. It appears that they want to do most of the prerequisites that we were requesting, and I say let's give it. If they want to buy it, let's move forward with it and let's make something out of it. It's been sitting there for a long time, and you know that. And I think we have a good opportunity now to sell it. We didn't get any other proposals. Some of the interest groups that do work in Pahokee in other matters do know this group, and they're confident that this group wants to be here in the city of Pahokee. So it comes highly recommended by the chamber. The chamber's aware of the entity's previous work, and so we're going to move forward with them. Yeah, but we will address the asbestos conversation.
Also, I've been hearing that it's stipulation on buying this, it has to be medical. Is that true?
Yeah, that's always been that was the prerequisite for request for proposal.
And someone wants this building to make it a medical building?
Yes, sir. This entity, that's in their proposal. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay, are there any quick comments from the commission? Hearing none, we're going to adjourn the workshop. And for the first time, we're going to move directly into our regular commission meeting.
No break. No 3-minute break.
Now, trying to do a little something new today. City Attorney, are you ready?
I'm ready.
City Clerk, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
City Manager, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Hill, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Walker, are you ready? Vice Mayor Holmes, are you ready? Commissioner Mervin?
Yes.
Sergeant at Arms?
Yes, sir.
I call this meeting, this regular city commission meeting of the city of Pahokee on Tuesday, November the 28th, 2017, to order at 6:30. May we stand for the invocation led by Reverend Smart, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father Father God, we come before you now as we start this commission meeting. We thank you for the information that has been given to us, but we know that there is so much more that needs to be said about this community. And we ask that it be said in a way of pleasantness, that all who talk tonight know that they are being watched. Thank you for this opportunity to be here, to have the freedom to come together in a commission meeting. We ask your blessings upon our mayor, our vice mayor, and the commissioners, and all city employees. And we thank you for what they're doing for our community. And we ask you to bless each and every one of us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab,
Present.
Vice Mayor Holmes,
President.
Commissioner Hill, Commissioner Mervin,
Present.
Commissioner Walker, City Manager,
Present.
City Attorney,
Present.
Deputy Friedman. Here. City Clerk, present.
Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, staff. Thank you, Reverend Smart, for the invocation, and thank each of you for being here tonight to participate in our regular City Commission meeting. We're going to move right along with the agenda. The addition, deletion, approval of the agenda items. We have 4 requested add-on. There are 3 add-on resolution. Resolution 2017-35, 2017-36, and 2017-37. We're going to take we'll just do all add-ons at one time. Also, Commissioner Mervin has asked that we add on the discussion of the community celebration for our football team. So there are 4 add-ons to the agenda. Are there any additional add-ons?
Renaming the street.
Okay, renaming the East Main Street, Mel Tillis, Wildside Boulevard Street, or whatever the commission and the community decide on that. It's currently a street now, East Main Street. So we actually have 5 add-ons. So let's take I'll entertain a motion as far as the add-ons.
Mayor, I motion to approve the add-ons on the agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Hill that we add on the 5 agenda items to our agenda. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. And it also has been suggested that we move up the order of one of the presentations by our lobbyist group. And we'll take a vote after that on the agreement. I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
Mayor, I move up the lobby group.
And they'll be first on the agenda.
Oh.
Okay.
Mayor, remember moving Mel Tillis from presentations to proclamation,
Okay.
because we have a proclamation.
We'll do both at the same time. We're going to move, we currently had Mel Tillis as a presentation. We're going to do that on a proclamation. So we're going to move the lobbyist group up first on the agenda, and then we're going to keep the same order for the proclamation on the K.
So you need a
Would
motion
you amend that to include both orders of?
So I amend the motion to include both the presentation to a proclamation And also, we're moving up the lobby group.
Okay.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Mervin and properly second by Vice Mayor Holmes. Call for questions. Hearing none. Are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holmes.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Hill.
Yes.
Commissioner Walker.
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. We'll move to the citizen comments. You need a comment card. It's an agenda item only. Madam Clerk, do we have any comments cards in reference to agenda items?
Yes, sir. Mr. Sam McKinstry.
Good evening, Commission. My name's Sam
Good evening.
McKinstry, 371 East Main Street.
Evening.
I'd like to respectfully request that East Main Street in Pahokee be renamed to Meltillis Boulevard. He is, in fact, our first star. Not a football star, none of that, but he is a star, country music Hall of Famer, the whole 9 yards. It'd be nice. And I'd also like to know if the city still has the Welcome to Pahokee Meltillis sign.
That sign, I think, was removed like 20 years ago. It's been a long time, Sam. It was originally up there about 30 years ago, so yeah.
I can remember
Right,
from a
we don't
kid, I
have it.
wondered whatever happened.
Right. And AJ is here. If anybody would know, he probably would. Yeah, we don't have it. Thank you.
Okay. It'd be nice to have something.
Thank you.
I agree.
One of the things I've asked the city manager to look at too, our entrance signs, to have the ability to put notable residents on there, you know, at some point. So that may be something we can look at in addition to the sign at some point. Are there any additional comments, cards in reference to agenda items, City Clerk?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we'll move to the approval of the minutes of November 13, 2017, regular scheduled commission meeting. What's your pleasure, City Commission?
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the minutes for 2017. November 13, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Hill and properly second by Vice Mayor Holmes for the adoption of the November 13, 2017 regular commission meeting. Call for questions. Hearing none. Are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hill.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin.
Yes.
Commissioner Walker.
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. At this time, we would have the presentation by our lobbyist group. We'll turn this over to our city manager to introduce them and bring them forward.
Thank you, Mayor. We have with us tonight from our lobbying firm, Tom DeRita and Jordan Connors from Resource NA. Thank you. Welcome, Tom. Jordan.
First of all, we'd like to thank the mayor and the city commission and the city manager for giving us the opportunity to be able to work with you and present your vision to Tallahassee. I think Jordan will explain to you what happened during 2017 and what our plans are for 2018. I'd also like to thank the commissioners and city manager and the commissioners who attended with us in Tallahassee, so that the executive branch and the legislative branch are very much aware of what's happening in Tallahassee. And that's been very, very successful. So Jordan will fill you in on what happened in 2017 and what our plans are for 2018. And again, thank you very much for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor,
Thank you.
Mr. Vice Mayor, City Commission, City Manager. My name is Jordan Connors. I'm going to just talk about the good stuff, because that's what we want to hear, good stuff, right? So, you know, last session, with the help of your vision, Chandler and his staff putting together the proper paperwork, identified 4 projects. Now, Tom and I have been working together since 1998. We've represented many cities, and we get the list, and we hope we get one. One is a good year because you have 435 cities, maybe more, 67 counties, all going after the same pie. And when you presented us the list of 4 projects last year, and we went up to Palm Beach County Days and all the committee weeks and met with the Senate President and the appropriations chairs, I think you being up there was very helpful. And I remember sitting in the meeting with Senator Negron, President Negron, and we presented the list, and he said, well, we'll try to get you 1. That's what he told us. We'll try to get 1. Well, we got all 4. So tremendous success last year. $1.2 million for the Marina improvement, with $1 million from the year prior, we're at $2.2 million. $635,000 for Glades Citizen Villa stormwater improvements. East Lake Village stormwater improvements, $750,000, and Commissioners Park improvements, $550,000. So I just want to thank you for having the vision to allow us to go up there and fight hard for the city. Now, since then, Chandler and I had a meeting last month. We met in the governor's office with Mark Cruz and some of his associates, and we gave him a brief update on these projects because it's very important to keep the governor's staff involved and informed on what we're doing, because there's a lot of cities and counties that were in the budget and they did not survive the governor's veto. But this city did not have any projects vetoed, and I think that's a testament to the city and what they're doing. So that was that was this year. Moving into next year, next session, it starts on January the 9th. I told Chandler, I said the budget's gonna be very tough this year. We've had hurricanes across the state. The budget is not looking very good this year, and I said, Chandler, why don't you give me a couple projects? So he gave me 5 this year. So I'm not gonna guarantee that we're gonna go 5 for 5 this year, but Tom and I are gonna work very hard. And I think with you coming up for Palm Beach County's Day again this year, we'll meet with the appropriate people. So let me highlight, and I know that you guys have prioritized this list. Let me go over the list again, what we're going for this year. Again, another a budget request for the marina improvements for $990,000. We got a $1.5 million for the community emergency center renovations. East Main Street stormwater improvements, $790,000. First Street stormwater improvements, $660,000, and King Park improvements for $550,000. That's a ambitious agenda, but we're up to the challenge, and I just want to thank you for all your support, and we look forward to working with you in Tallahassee.
Again, thank you. I just can't reiterate, how excited I am about the results of last year. And I'm not sure that the community realized the magnitude with all other cities competing for the same dollars. I mean, we should be proud of our staff, proud of our lobby firm, proud of our legislative delegation, and everybody who contributed to that success. And hopefully we can go 5 and 5, 5 for 5 this year. Maybe unlikely, but I've never heard, as long as I've been a commissioner, receiving all 4 of our top priorities. Just haven't happened, folks. And I think that if it's not too much to ask, let's give this firm and our staff a little applause for that. That's a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to say, I do want to thank, and you touched on that, I do want to thank our delegation, especially Senator Rader and Representative Bruzzo and County Commissioner McKinley. I mean, they're real troopers, they're real advocates for the region. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we did agree that we would take the agreement for this firm, and I think that would be Resolution 2017-35. City Attorney, could you read that into the record?
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City of Pahokee, Florida, authorizing an agreement with Resource Group N.A. Inc. for governmental consulting services. It's for a 1-year period at $4,000 a month.
Having had Resolution 2017-35 properly read into the minutes by our city attorney, what's your pleasure, City Commission?
Mayor, I motion to approve the resolution for 2017-35.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Hill for the approval of Resolution 2017-35. Call for questions. Any questions you have at this
Can you
point?
explain that again, please?
Yes, sir. It's a consulting agreement with this lobbying firm to serve as the City of Pahokee emissary in Tallahassee to help to secure state funds, to track legislation that the city would be interested in, and otherwise represent the city before elected officials in Tallahassee. They are to provide the city with progress reports, and in return, they are to receive $4,000 a month for their remuneration.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any additional questions from the City Commission? Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Resolution 2017-35 passed by unanimous vote. Okay, we have non-consent agenda items. We have ordinance 2017-09 on first reading. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, this is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, proposing a charter amendment regarding selection of a vice mayor, providing for an effective date of the amendment, repeal of laws in conflict, severability, codification, and effective date. This is a charter amendment that only takes effect if approved by the majority of electors that vote in the general election in Pahokee on March 13th. And if approved, what it does is it requires that at the first regular meeting in April each year, the City Commission shall appoint from the sitting commissioners a vice mayor.
Okay, Commissioner, this is actually going to go on the ballot if approved by the commission first, and then our residents would have to vote on it to make the final changes. We also would have a second reading to give our residents a opportunity for input into this ordinance. This is a unanimous vote by the Charter Review Committee that brought this forth for our consideration. Having had ordinance 2017-09 properly read into the minutes by our city attorney, what's your pleasure, City Commission?
Mayor, I motion to approve the ordinance 2017-09.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Hill for the approval and adoption of ordinance 2017-09 on first reading. Call for questions.
Question,
Yes.
is that gonna cost the city any money?
I think there's a small fee to add on any type of language on a ballot. It shouldn't be.
It's already included in our packet.
Okay, with no additional cost.
Okay.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Ordinance 2017-09 passes on first reading by unanimous vote. Now we're moving to our second resolution. That will be Resolution 2017-36. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, approving budget amendment number 4 in the amount of $793,993.59 to the 2016-2017 fiscal year budget. This is essentially a bookkeeping cleanup resolution for your auditors for last year's budget.
Thank you, City Attorney. Having had Resolution 2017-36 properly read into the minutes by our City Attorney, what's your pleasure, City Commission?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2017-36.
Been moved by Commissioner Hill and properly seconded by Vice Mayor Holmes for the adoption of Resolution 2017-36. Call for questions.
Question, Mayor, this is the funds, these funds is already into the, is being added into the budget.
Commissioner Mervin, these are funds that have already been expended outside of the surtax funds. It's from last fiscal year. What we're doing is we're codifying the budget to ensure we're in compliance with our auditors. So in other words, when we agree to a budget in September for the year, and beyond that approved budget, if we get additional revenue for projects or however it affects the budget beyond what we approved, we have to account for those additional revenue dollars. And so what we have to do is make a budget amendment to account for that, as the city attorney said, a bookkeeping formality that we have to comply with in order to complete an audit.
Any additional questions from the commission? Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holmes?
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker? Yes. Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Resolution 2017-36 passed by unanimous vote. We now have Resolution 2017-37. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, supporting the Community for Florida legislation in Congress to fully fund and expedite repairs to the Herbert Hoover Dike.
Thank you, City Attorney. Having had Resolution 2017-37 properly read into the minutes, what's your pleasure, City Commission?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2017-37.
A second.
Been moved by Commissioner Hill and properly seconded by Commissioner Mervin for the adoption of Resolution 2017-37. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holmes?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker? Yes. Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Resolution 2017-37 passed by unanimous vote. Now we would have public hearing on Ordinance 2017-08. This is second reading. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, this is an ordinance of the City of Pahokee, Florida, amending Section 2-63, Paren 9 of the Code of Ordinances regarding supervision of the city clerk, providing severability, inclusion in the code, and effective date. This amends your code so that it provides that the clerk serves under the direct supervision of the City Commission, and both the city manager and the City Commission shall evaluate the clerk each year during the annual evaluation.
Thank you, City Attorney. Having had Resolution 2017-08 properly read into the minutes, what's your pleasure, City Commission?
Mr. Mayor, you have to open the public hearing in case any residents want to comment on it.
Yes, thank you, sir. I now at this time open this for a public hearing on second reading. Do anyone from the audience wish to address this resolution? Any comments, any questions? Mr. Morris? I hit it twice. You told me to get a little forceful now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Could you explain the difference that was take place as far as what's now and what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I'll have the city attorney explain a little further, but what it is, it just gives the city manager the ability to help evaluate the city clerk. The city commission would still be the person who would hire and fire the city clerk if needed, and basically be the supervision of the city clerk. The only additional responsibility we're now adding is to allow the city manager the input in participating in the evaluation process. So instead of having 5 evaluations, she would have 6, and those would be compiled and come up with an average score.
So am I to understand correctly, just evaluation only?
Right. He's already assisting in some of her supervision as far as some guidance and direction. Our staff, which when I say staff, I'm talking about the city commission, it's not up there on a day-to-day basis, but she's still directly under our supervision. And this is coming from our charter review, a unanimous recommendation that this change be implemented.
Thank you, I just needed clarity.
Thank you. Did I miss anything, city attorney or city manager? Okay, thank
No,
you.
sir.
Okay, are there any additional comments on this ordinance? Hearing none, I'll now close the public hearing for ordinance 2017-08. Having had a public hearing and this ordinance properly read into the minutes, what's your pleasure, City Commission?
All right, I make a motion to approve ordinance 2017-08.
I second.
It been moved by Commissioner Hill and properly seconded by Commissioner Mervin for the adoption of ordinance 2017-08. Call for questions.
Question.
Vice Mayor.
I'm gonna vote yes, but I don't think the city manager need no more responsibility. That's just my take on that. Just want to document it.
Right, thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none. Are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hill.
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Walker.
No.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Ordinance 2017-08 passes by a majority of 4-1 vote. Proclamations. We have a proclamation for Mel Tillis, former legendary residence, Hall of Famer, country music star. Our city attorney, could you read the proclamation into record?
As soon as I find it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. This is a proclamation, expression of sympathy for country singer Lonnie Melvin Tillis, whereas the residents of Pahokee with heavy hearts are still very proud to recognize the life and valuable contributions of Lonnie Melvin Tillis, known as Mel Tillis. And whereas Mel Tillis was born in Tampa, Florida on August 8, 1932, to Burma and Lonnie Lee Tillis. And whereas Mel Tillis and his family migrated to Pahokee, Florida in the 1940s. And whereas Mel Tillis started performing country music in the early 50s with a group called the Westerners, while serving as a baker in the United States Air Force Station in Okinawa. And whereas in 1956, Webb Pierce recorded a song written by Mel Tillis entitled "I'm Tired," and it launched Mel's musical career. And whereas in 1976, Mel Tillis was inducted into the Nashville Songwriters International Hall of Fame, and that same year he was named Country Music Association's Entertainer of the Year. And whereas Mel Tillis will be remembered by his effervescent spirit and commitment to the residents, along with the respect, admiration, and high regard he earned by all whom he touched. And now therefore be resolved on behalf of the City Commission and the citizens of Pahokee, that by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of Pahokee, do hereby extend our sincerest sympathy to the family of Lonnie Melvin Tillis.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Thank you, City Attorney. Having had proclamation for Mel Tillis properly read into our minutes, what's your pleasure, City Commission?
I make motion to approve the proclamation expiration of sympathy for country singer Lonnie Melvin Tillis.
Second?
Been moved by Commissioner Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Hill for the approval of the proclamation for Mel Tillis. Call for questions.
I didn't know Mel Tillis had passed. Really? You didn't know he? I didn't know that he didn't born in Pahokee.
Right.
I went to school with his, I think his brother Gary.
Yeah, I
Gary,
think-
his brother, right? Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken, he came to Pahokee at age 3.
3.
They moved here. Okay, what's your pleasure, Commissioners?
I second.
We haven't started roll call.
Pardon me, we gotta start over?
We haven't started roll call.
Oh,
No. We
I
got a
already
sec.
motioned it. He
She
seconded.
motioned, she second.
oh, she already seconded.
Been
Call the
moved by Commissioner Mervin, second by Commissioner Hill. In additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Walker. Yes. Mayor Bat.
Yes. Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Are there
There is
any?
an address, sorry, that, where you can send the proclamation
Yeah,
to
we'll
one
get-
of his, family members.
We're going to officially announce, are there any relatives of Mel Tillis here to accept the proclamation? Seeing none, we will get this proclamation to the family. Okay, we're gonna move into the mayor's report. I'm gonna just briefly go over this. I mentioned it in our workshop, so I don't have to go into any type of details.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Uh-huh.
We're not gonna vote on the naming of the street?
Yeah, we have that
It's in there.
under new business, under number 4.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna-
I thought your mayor report was about the last.
Yeah.
was gonna do. Okay.
Correct. I promise I won't put you to sleep. Okay, again, I'm excited about this renovation. I thank our contractor who installed our new state-of-the-art equipment. We're now streaming live. So if you miss our commission meeting, you can go on the website and take a look and review our meeting and don't miss anything. Again, I want to thank the 4 candidates for choosing to run for elected office. It's not an easy job, but it's something that needs to be done. Benny Everett has filed to run against incumbent Nathaniel Holmes, and Sarah Perez has filed to run against incumbent Felicia Hill. We wish all the candidates good luck in the election in March, so please be mindful of that. Again, just want to mention myself and Commissioner Mervin went to the National League of Cities Summit. Great event, over 3,000 attendees. We even had Pastor Reese from St. John went on that trip. So it was really a beneficial trip. We did get chance to hear Magic Irvin Johnson. He do a lot of investments in low-income areas. Commissioner Mervin has offered to write him a letter to try to encourage him to invest in Pahokee. And that's all we can do. We can ask. I think Pahokee has been a lot of places. We're knocking on a lot of doors. We're sitting at a lot of tables. So people know who we are, and we're making an impact. So I appreciate everyone's effort in that. Again, we're very excited about our entryway sign. Our city manager mentioned earlier that we'll be having a grand unveiling on December the 15th at 10 o'clock. So just asking everyone to come out. I think you'll be really pleased of that sign and proud of it. Also mentioned we gave away 75 turkeys to needy families and seniors.
100.
100 now. Okay. It's a great number, 100 turkeys. Also, I failed to mention the Christmas parade. It's going to the Chamber Annual Christmas Parade. We're asking everyone to participate in that. I don't have my dates here. December 5th. I think the lineup is at 5 o'clock. The commission is going to be taking part in that. Hopefully everyone have gotten your driver name and their driver license number that our clerk need to secure your vehicle. Unfortunately, I'll be out of town that week attending the legislative conference in Orlando. So a couple of meetings I'm missing. They're also World AIDS Day. I would hope that someone from the city can be there to give the greetings in my place for that event. They have a nice, wonderful luncheon and
What was that?
World AIDS Day. I think that's going to be at St. John this year. You have the date on that, Pastor? I had it. I know it's during the time I'm out. I think it's that Thursday, I want to say, but I'll get the date. Okay. Also, I'll be participating in the District 6 Mayor's Roundtable tomorrow, hosted by our new selected county mayor, Melissa McKinley, and just want to recognize Lisa Wilson, her aide in the Glaze area. And that's conclude my mayor's report. We'll move now to the city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. Citizens of Pahokee, thanks for coming out tonight. Just a follow-up to the city manager's report. The old water plant, as you're aware, that we were provided funding by Solid Waste Authority for demolition on that structure. We had a pre-qualification bid put out. It wasn't a bid, it was a pre-qualification to receive and determine who the bidders will be. And we drilled that down to 4. So we now will contact those entities and they will now bid on the demolition for the old water plant. And then once that's completed, of course, we'll do a legal review of the bid and make an announcement of who will receive that job. And so it's been a long time coming for that structure. As we know, the water plant's been closed for quite some time here in the city of Pahokee. We want to demolish that structure for shovel-ready property for a new entity to be built there. In the future, we also will be applying for 2018 Solid Waste Authority's demolition, and we're looking at, you know, the old City Hall, of course, and the other side of the street. Again, that's another property that some of our investors are looking to invest in as well. So that's for 2018. But right now, we will provide you a recommendation once those bids come in from those 4 entities, and we'll move forward fairly quickly. We're about 30 days behind on that bid for Solid Waste Authority, but we are aggressively moving forward. They understand it's some things take time, but the old water plant is a very meticulous demolition project because the old water plant goes about 6 feet into the ground. And so we have to be very meticulous on how we demolish that facility per the environmental guidelines, and ensuring that we do our demolition the correct way. So the engineers had to get in there and really look at the specs on that property and get some feedback from the county. The county had to come in and finish cutting off the lines to that plant directly and redirect the water that we're currently using in the city. So we had to wait for that project to be completed by the county. They did 2 projects out there to ensure once the demolition starts that it will not interfere with our current water cycle in the city.
And City Manager, I understand that the water tower won't be removed. How would that affect the land and what is going to be used for in the future?
One of the stipulations that came from Solid Waste Authority and the county is that the water tower has to remain. It's a staple in this community. You can see it from miles away, along with the other water tower at Monk City Road. So that was a part of the agreement in receiving the funds that has to remain. Good question. The engineers have been out on site quite a bit now, because one of the challenges with this demolition is the current water tower is closely positioned towards the buildings that will be demolished. So whoever wins the bid, the engineers will have a more direct conversation on how that part of the demolition would take place without interfering with the foundation of the water tower. Subsequently, parts of the water plant that 6 feet depth connects in some areas with the 4 feet depth part of where the water tower sits. And so they're going to have to be very careful when they start doing the demolition. So that's why it's important that we went through those pre-qualifications very carefully to ensure that the best agencies will be able to bid on it. And by the way, they were able to come out and view the site themselves to ensure that their companies are capable of doing this type of demolition. Most of the entities that will bid are experienced demolition companies for this type of work. In addition, we do have our Christmas parade on Tuesday. The clerk just reminded me that we will have cars for the commission. You need to provide her with names of your drivers. I'm assuming by the end of this week, so we can make tomorrow. She just referenced, so we can make the proper reservations for you for next week. As previously mentioned, we do have a new entryway sign on Bacon Point Road. I was sitting here thinking about the resolution from Mel Tillis, and I know we have a conversation about renaming a street, but it'll be easier as well to add or order a sign, some of those highway signs that you see, welcome to home of Mel Tillis, Country Music Award nominee. We can easily order one of those signs as well, in lieu of, if we move forward with renaming a particular street, we can also order an additional sign that can be erected, probably in 2 parts of town if it pleases the commission and the community. Those are rarely easy to order and be placed on the entryways into the city. And you see a lot of those in a lot of cities where you have an official entryway sign, but you also have those additional small highway signs that says, this is the home of Mel Tillis, or this is the home of who they're recognizing. So I was just sitting there thinking about that. I know we've been talking about phase 3 for quite some time, and that is the complete resurfacing of a Glade Citizens Villa. We have some legal things that the city attorney has to address with the particular entity that we want to work with. And as soon as we get some resolution to that, we'll be aggressively moving forward with that phase 3 or resurfacing of all of Glade Citizens Villa. And then once we complete that project, as I previously mentioned, we'll go in and start the stormwater project that was funded by the state legislature for this same community. That means new stormwater, hopefully some sidewalks, and they have a small playground area in this community as well. We did get some money to put some new playground equipment there. Unfortunately, when it rains very hard in that particular area, that is low-lying area of Glade Citizens Villa. It goes up to about 2 feet of water, and that's just a normal rainstorm. And so what we want to do is wait until we do the stormwater project, after we do the resurfacing, and we'll address the stormwater drainage in that area as well for that project. So all told, if you include the resurfacing, which is about $210,000, and you include the $635,000, you're looking at almost $1 million in renovations for the streets and roads in that particular community. And so we're excited to get that project up and moving as quickly as possible. But first, we have to do the resurfacing before we start that project. In addition to that, we're eagerly working with the contractor to get our work started up at the Marina. If you've been around town recently, you've seen the new signs that we've erected up in each of these project areas that we got funded in 2017. And that's just to help educate the community about what's coming to the city of Pahokee. I know we may get a little frustrated sometimes because we don't see the work happening in Pahokee and what we know we got funded for it. Let me say this. We don't get that money up front. We were lucky and very fortunate to get most of the Marina project money up front so we can rapidly get started. On average, a state-funded project in the state of Florida, it takes a year to get started. I'm about 6 months ahead of schedule right now because we were afforded most of that funding for that particular project up front. The other projects, I worked diligently to see how we can also get some of that funding provided to us up front. We were lucky that they will do a different type of invoicing process for some of those projects. So you'll see those projects come online quicker than a year here in the city of Pahokee. Subsequently, some of the projects, they've only given us a small window, so it's important that we ramp up our mobilization to get started. So those signs represent what's coming to Pahokee. They're not a wish list. Those projects have been funded, and we look forward to getting them started here fairly soon. And as Jordan mentioned from our lobbying group, we're ready for 2018 because we know we have other projects and other infrastructure issues that are occurring in Pahokee that we have to address. And so it's good to get those projects started as soon as possible. And as Jordan Connors mentioned, the governor didn't fund a lot of projects in the state of Florida, and he funded all 4 of ours. And that tells you the belief that he has in where this city is going. And hopefully, when we get these projects started, he wants to come out. When I visited with the governor's staff last month in Tallahassee, that's one of the first things he said is they want to come out and do a grand, not opening, but just a little small media blitz on what's going to be occurring here in the city of Pahokee. And that's good because he's going to remember that. And so when 2018 session comes up, that'll be an easier conversation for additional funding here in the city of Pahokee. So thanks to this commission, Jordan Connors and Tom DeRito, of course, Melissa McKinley's office, they have a great legislative team over there in the county. They do county-wide projects as a collective whole when we go to Tallahassee. And they have a phenomenal team over there in the county. I just met with them yesterday downtown. They're ready to go to Tallahassee. They know what the agenda is for Pahokee, Belglade, and South Bay. And we've gotten a lot of money here in the Glades for projects over the last couple of years. And previous commissions and this current commission has played a role in that. And we all should be thankful for the leadership that we have. So that's it for my report tonight, Mayor.
On the Marina, because of a lot of the questions, I know the city attorney will have a report on that, but as far as the start date anticipated for the Marina renovation, when you anticipate that would actually start? We know it's going to be a long process, but when you are going to be getting started on that?
The attorney we're drafting the agreement for the contractor now. There's some things that we needed back from the contractor so we can firm up the type of agreement that we can all live with. There's some things that we have to work out with pricing with the beginning of the first couple of projects. And once that's cleared up with the city attorney, we are hopeful that that will be ready for presentation at the next commission meeting. Of course, we're waiting on a permit from the county on one of the smaller projects to get started. But we're pretty much, the company's ready to go. They're mobilizing, not here, but they are mobilizing. But there are some specifics that we need to put into the agreement to get clarity on, and we needed clarity on that through the city attorney's office. But they've been advised what we're looking for. I would say, hopefully by the end of December, they'll be mobilizing here in the city of Pahokee. So just a couple more formalities, and we'll be done.
Okay, thank you, city manager,
Yeah.
for your
I have some
report.
questions in reference to
Okay.
his report. I took a drive up on the lake a couple of days ago, and I noticed there were over 90 vacant parks for the campground. Do we have a reason why we got so many vacancies?
Well, we're just getting to the season. From my experience, we start seeing a more higher activity right after the holidays subside. That happened last year. We kind of started off slowly, crept up a little bit in January, increased significantly in February. We've never filled out completely at the campground, but we do start off a little slow at the campground as far as reservations, and that's kind of typical for the holiday season until they decide where they want to position their RVs in the South. And so that's normal to get a slow start up this time of year.
As far as staff in Chandler, are you gonna be able to man the campground with sufficient staff that, I guess, what
Being
I'm
manned now.
alluding to,
The only day that we don't have
Sundays.
staff there is full-time Sundays. And I am looking at making some changes hourly to the staff to see how we can coordinate ensuring that we have coverage, not just, 5.5 to 6 days a week, but actually 7 days a week. We do realize we need to rearrange some of our employees to have their availability at the campground on a full-time basis throughout. So I'm exploring some ideas that will ensure that we have coverage even when the hours are after 5 o'clock. That's important. I know that's been one of the concerns, and so we are looking at that as far as manpower is concerned.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
Being a young man that used to live in the north, I know that around September, October, the snowbirds are coming south. And I've never seen the Marina, the campground rather, that vacant. Also, I need to know what's going on with the restaurant. I noticed it hasn't came up tonight. And I know a lot of people would like to know what's going on, and I'm one of them.
Are you concerned about the leases as far as moving forward? That's something that'll be in Garrett's report. City
Just give
attorneys.
us synopsis on it. What's going on? Are we gonna have somebody that's gonna fill the restaurant, or what?
Again, that's in the city attorney's report when he gets to it. I'd prefer he speak on that from a legal
Okay, I asked the
perspective.
city attorney since you done threw it to him.
right. I guess what he's saying is
understand what he's saying.
it's gonna come under his report. And if everything is not clarified, we can ask some additional questions.
Okay.
Okay. That's it, city manager?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll go to the city attorney report. City attorney.
Mr. Mayor, I think as you all know by now, the lease that you all approved with the investor group for the campground, the marina and the restaurant was sent up to the state of Florida, and the state of Florida rejected that lease. And the reason they rejected the lease was really twofold. The first was it was an unsolicited lease. In other words, the proposers did not respond to a commercial bid for the project. The only thing that the city had put out for bid was the restaurant, and that was an RFP some time ago. They didn't respond to that. They waited until afterwards and came in and negotiated a transaction with the city. And the state said that they would not accept that because it was not an open competitive bid situation. The second reason they rejected it was that it did not comply with the state of Florida requirements for doing a commercial bid. When the state does a lease to a municipality, they do it on the basis that the municipality is going to have that land available for recreational opportunities to the public, and then they do that on a fee waiver basis. In other words, the city does not have to pay any fees to the state. But when the city turns around then and leases it to a private party, the private party becomes subject to the state rules regarding fees that have to be paid to the state. So the state, in that instance, wants certain fees based on the appraised value of the upland parcel, the 138 acres, to be paid to the state. And secondly, they want fees paid for the submerged lands portion of the marina to be paid to the state. The only way around that is to have a proposal that encompasses enough incentive for the state to want to waive those fees again for the public-private partnership. That has to be presented to the governor and cabinet and approved by the governor and cabinet. So when we sent the state the lease, we knew that it wasn't a solicited competitive bid, and we knew that it didn't meet the Florida administrative rules. So we advised everyone in advance that in order for it to get approved, it was going to require considerable lobbying effort to the governor's office to have it brought before the governor and cabinet and for those fees to be waived. We also told the investor group when it was going to be sent up the same thing. Whatever lobbying effort did occur, it wasn't sufficient, and the state rejected the entire deal. So that's where we are. I've given you a list of some alternatives. Of course, you don't have to decide on any particular alternative this evening. There were just some ideas that came to me. You may have others. The city manager may have other ideas as to how to approach the Marina project. I would suggest, however, that we not continue to do the same thing, that is, continue to put out RFPs expecting a different result. We've done it now at least 3 or 4 times, either have gotten a poor result or a negative result out of it. So we should not do that again. That's really the end of my report. The decision as to how you want to approach this really needs to be discussed thoroughly by you all. You need to get a recommendation from your city manager. I would suggest also that it is possible that you may need the help of a consultant to work through the bureaucracy in Tallahassee to get a sublease approved if you want to go that way.
So if we don't do something, it's gonna be just like the old hospital.
Well,
We ain't gonna get nothing done.
the alternative of not doing anything is for the city to actively run and manage it themselves.
How's that working? See how that works?
Yeah, you know, we gotta do better. We gotta do better. We gotta do better.
So, Attorney Brandon, so what is our recommendation that you just told to the Miller Group, or what do we need to do to further along the project? What do we do now? Like, where we stand at now?
The Miller Group's proposal is, for all intents and purposes, dead at this point. The Miller Group had the opportunity to go and lobby in Tallahassee to try to push this agreement through. I don't think there was any effort on their part to do so, none that I know of. And as a result of that, and just the fact that it was contrary to
It's a shame.
the state rules, which we knew going in, which the Miller Group knew going in, they rejected it.
Okay, so as far as the city, to clear the city at fault at this, or is this the state, something that has to do with the state, or like?
I don't think there's anybody at fault. The city knew, we advised you that this was not a competitive bid situation, and that the state required a competitive bid situation. The city and the Miller Group both decided to press forward to negotiate an agreement and present it to Tallahassee anyways. The Miller Group was told it was going to be a heavy lift. All the people that were involved, the Business Development Board, the commissioners, the manager, were all told it was going to be a heavy lift to get this agreement approved by them. And the state turned around and turned it down. Not unexpected result from me, at least on my part.
Well, I had the understanding this thing was a go.
Well-
Now you telling me something totally different.
No, I told you actually in a memo I wrote to all of you in September that the state requires a competitive bid process.
Yeah,
And,
they did it.
well, there wasn't, well, I'm not going to respond to the audience.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so I can read that memo to you if you'd like.
That's okay. It's, the ball dropped at my city manager. That's where the ball dropped at, because he's supposed to be our leader here and advising us and doing the right thing in our RFPs. And it wasn't done. It wasn't done.
Okay.
Well, I think that should be cleared up, Mr. Brendan Burr. If you could clear that up,
It's cleared
so
up
we don't
already.
have false
Fool
information
yourself.
going out on what actually happened, so everybody would know. Thank God we are live, so everybody would know exactly what happened, and the right information would get out to the public. So if you, as the city attorney, can please address and clear up that process.
Okay, the history on this is that the city manager recommended, and the city commission accepted his recommendation, that an RFP go out for the restaurant only, so that someone would be operating the restaurant when this season began for the campground. That RFP was published, no one responded. That deadline was extended twice, no one responded. Somewhere along that time frame, with the RFP outstanding, the Miller Group approached the city manager and said, we'd like to start negotiations. The city manager.
We started 6 months
Mark.
before. I'm sorry.
Yeah, out of order, sir. Thank you.
The city manager told that group from the onset that his recommendation was that it was only going to be an RFP for a restaurant. They negotiated for quite a period of time. That culminated in a meeting where the Miller Group was pressing to have that agreement approved. And as you recall, the agreement wasn't written that night, and it wasn't even agreed to that night, so I asked you not to approve it. And you didn't approve it that night. Shortly before that meeting, we had a telephone conversation with the Miller Group and their lawyers. And we told them that if they insisted on going forward with a package for the marina and the campground and the restaurant, that they would be subject to these state rules. Certain members of the Miller Group didn't believe us, so we offered to them the opportunity to hire their own lawyer to go ask the state if that was true or not. They opted not to spend the money to do so and pushed forward with negotiations for an agreement for the entire package, which the commission ultimately approved, and it was sent to the state, and as expected, really, it was rejected by the state. And there was really no lobbying effort done by the Miller Group that I know of at the state level, or anybody else for that matter, at that time. So that's the history on it. That's how we got to where we are today. We started off with an RFP for the restaurant only, with no one responding to it. Then these folks coming in and saying we want to negotiate the whole thing for everything, insisting on a deal for everything. And when that deal for everything went to the state rejected it. So the state rules are clear. If a piece of state land is going to be used for a private, for-profit purpose, it has to go out to a competitive bid where everyone has a chance to bid on it, and the person who bids the most gets it. And the state has a very clear set of rules as to how much the state has to be paid for the upland portion and for the sovereign submerged lands portion. None of those criteria were met in that agreement. And so it was rejected by the state.
Senator
So-
Trent?
One thing,
Yeah.
so, the clarification, because I've heard some people saying, all you gotta do is go back and do some paperwork. This is dead, right? So there's no such thing as, going back and redoing some paperwork and revitalizing this thing, okay? Cause we
The only way that deal
we
could-
got people that is missing.
Particular deal had enough public interest in it to warrant coming before them to waive all their rules and approve it without any fees being paid. Now that happened the very first time a lease was entered into out here. At that time, Senator Graham was the governor, and the fellow who was leading that effort was the head of the Maritime Council for the state of Florida. And they put together a package that included appraisals and justifications for why the state should waive the fees. And that was presented to the governor and cabinet, and they approved it at that time. At that time, that particular proposer was indicating that they were going to give the city 25% of their net profits as the lease payment. So that probably had something to do with why it was approved, compared to the current proposal that started off free and then went up to a maximum of 5%.
How did those past ones work out for the
Mark, you out of order, sir. No comments from the audience right now.
Take me out.
Sir,
You don't need the officer, just tell me to leave and I'll leave.
I want you not to interrupt.
I'd like to ask you a question, Mayor.
You can't at this point, Mark. Just for information purposes, and I don't want to prolong this, but can you go and explain the 3 or 4 suggestions that you brought forth just for the ordinance? You gave us a copy, but just to share that. You don't have to go into major detail.
Well, the first one was to have the investor group perhaps hire somebody that is knowledgeable about these types of matters in Tallahassee and lobby the governor and cabinet to try to get that lease approved. I don't think that that is a very likely outcome, considering the investor group didn't really make any effort at the governor and cabinet level when we sent the lease up. Second is to hire a consultant to work with the Division of State Lands to make them aware of the situation here in Pahokee and develop a competitive bid that you could put out on the street that they would approve in advance, so that once you got someone interested in it, they responded to it, and you sent it to the state, you would already have their prior approval, and it would be in accordance with all the rules. Another option would be for the city to enter into an agreement with someone to manage and operate the property and still have it under the city's control and the city's lease, but have a professional in the management of campgrounds, restaurants, and marinas operate or manage it for you and negotiate a reasonable management fee with that firm. Those are the main ideas that I came up with. There's some other sub-ideas, but none really that I think that the commission should pursue initially anyways.
I have a question.
Okay. Commissioner Hill.
So just for clarity, so during the time that we've allowed other entities to manage the marina, obviously that wasn't the right way.
No.
The reason I'm saying it like this is because, you know, sometimes we can do things and not understand the right way of doing it, and we've done it so long, we just don't know the correct way. So these three options, commercial bid, or visit Division of State Lands, or someone to manage a facility or whatever, those are the three options. So all prior to, this is just clarity for the citizens, because I know I would be asking the same questions, because we've had others up here to manage this before. That wasn't the right way.
No, the very first group that you had up there, which was Everglades Adventures, I think, LLC.
Okay.
They did it the right way. They went to the State Division of Lands. They negotiated a deal. They figured out how to present it to the governor and cabinet when the governor.
And he left here with 25 trailers and you didn't do anything about it.
All right, Mark, we're gonna have, I know you're leaving, we're gonna have to ask you officially to leave. Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
So they got the governor and cabinet to approve it, and they did so, and they operated it and actually built the existing marina facilities as they pretty much exist today with state funding with the city's help. At a point in time about 9 years ago, they sold their corporation to another large marina operation called Seven Kings.
Okay, I remember this.
Which operates mega marinas around the state. And they came in and operated it up until the time that the Army Corps of Engineers came through with the Herbert Hoover Dike improvements. And that pretty much shut down the marina for the period of time they were up there building the slurry wall. And that company decided to call it quits and left. Subsequent to that, the city put out an RFP, and I believe at that time, Cruise America, which was one of the partners in this deal, responded to it. And the city, under prior management, couldn't reach a deal with them, and they walked away. And then a deal was done with Wayne Gray Enterprises. Surprisingly, that deal was sent to the state of Florida, the very same people in the Division of State Lands, and was approved. which also gave us some hope that this deal might be approved. After Wayne Gray left, his restaurant was assigned over to Conkey Mo's, who operated for a little while, and then they closed up as well. That's the history of it as far as I know.
Okay. Okay. So this is, see, that's why I say this is a scary part, because when you hear, I'm sure when others hear, or others investors or persons that are interested in this marina as well as the location, it's scary to sit and hear this, because in a sense, if everyone is listening, this is going to be even harder to bring people in. So I really do think that as the commissioners and the leaders in this community, as well as the citizens, the city manager, all of us really need to get together and figure out a way to expedite it, a way to get these three options on board so that we can have them available and ready, so that we won't continue to have these incidences. And that's the scary part. That's why I'm just sitting here listening, and all of this is going out in the community, all in the waves of the internet, and people are listening. So now, here we go. That, I won't, like you said, city attorney, I won't say that was the wrong way or right way. It's just that people did things, there were protocols, and now we just gotta make sure we follow those. But we gotta, as leaders, we gotta come together, guys, and figure out how can we make this easier for people that are interested in investors, because this is scary. Because honestly, we can't get this place up and going with businesses or people coming in, bringing monies in this community and helping us grow this community, and listening to things like this. It's hard. I know I wouldn't want to hear it. And as an investor, I would just leave. So now, as leaders, we have a responsibility. We got to get something done as soon as possible, because they're going to continue to walk out the door like that. I would.
That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
We're trying to get it done
Yeah.
as soon as possible.
So I mean, we have these three options, and if we got to go to the state, guys, we just got to hurry up and do something, because we all know that that marina is our gold mine. We know that. And I don't blame him for getting upset. You know, I know that we have a responsibility, and I'm sure that we will handle it, but we got to make sure we handle it accordingly and in a timely manner. And because this is scary, because I just had to go back and rethink about all of the people that were there. And now, okay, now we're sitting here saying a commercial bid, division of state lands, someone to mention a facility. What do we do now?
So, Mr. Brandenburg, is there a way, I know the, excuse me, with the option 3, that we can let the Miller Group or so whatever manage the marina, the camp, or whatever, the restaurant, until we get it cleared up, some kind of way, with the option 3
and
that you
I think
have.
the problem would be also, Commissioner Mervin, is that you have investors or people as like the Miller Group. They wouldn't want to take this chance to do that. I wouldn't want to take a chance. But again, I feel that this is the time we got to have those special meetings and really sit down and do something about this. Because we got to stop it. We got to do something.
Well, the mayor suggested a special meeting.
Yeah, we need to schedule a special meeting,
that
and
was
we
a
need
good
to
idea.
get the Miller Group there. We need to get these people. We
Yes.
need to get all the people there, all the citizens that are concerned, and come up with something and get representatives
get
from the
this done,
state,
yeah.
from wherever they have to come from, and answer these questions
agree.
and see what process and protocol that we have to put in place for this.
I would suggest that you hire a consultant that knows what they're doing with respect to state lands leases
Okay.
and submerged lands leases, and have that consultant advise the city how best to proceed on this matter. If you have a special workshop with the Miller Group at this point, all you're gonna get is the Miller Group yelling at us for what they knew was gonna be the result anyways, and it's not gonna get anywhere, just like tonight's exhibition was. So I would not suggest you do that.
Okay, so we'll instruct the,
Mayor.
go ahead on, City Manager.
City Attorney, when you spoke to Tallahassee and they mentioned the correct way to do this, and you know we've spoken on that a couple of months before it was denied, and they're requesting that we do a commercial bid. Can you draft a commercial bid that we can advertise?
I think it would be ill-advised for the city to move forward on this marina without getting a marina specialist consultant in here to tell you the best way to handle this matter to go forward.
But why not appease the state and develop a commercial bid from the city so we can follow the guidelines that we know we need to follow, put it out on the street so they can bid on it? Can we do that? I'm asking, can we do that without hiring a consultant? Because that adds more time to the fray. Because it's apparent that we got denied because when we want to give all three entities to one particular group, they said we have to do a commercial bid. So can we do a commercial bid from your office to advertise, to appease the state, to get this entity and any other entity that want to bid on it, so we can get an agreement done in a more urgent, time frame? That's what I'm asking you as city manager to city attorney.
In my opinion, if you do a competitive bid in accordance with the state regulations as they're laid out, without negotiations with the state about what would be acceptable alternatives, you're going to get no respondents to your bid.
Okay.
The amount of money that they request in a submerged lands lease for this for the commercial or the submerged lands marina out here would be prohibitive for anyone to even consider bidding on it. So if you did a competitive a lease under their rules, you're going to get no responses. So you need, as we've talked before, you need to be able to put together a package to take to the state that the state's going to buy to allow something other than their standard competitive package.
Okay, next question. Can we put a commercial bid together and have it reviewed by the state to ensure we have all the prerequisites in it and then advertise it so we can appease what they're asking us to do
Yeah, you can do that. And
without hiring a consultant?
sure,
Okay, but that's all.
but no one will bid on it.
Okay, his recommendation on one bid, I guess the commission saying press forward and see, I'm not sure, but that's the two sides. You want to go forward with it. He's suggesting that it may be a little lengthier, but you may get better results if you have the consultant. So I don't know if we can make that decision now to go ahead anyway and take a chance at it.
I would think to go ahead anyway, as well as work on what the city attorney is saying, just in case. I mean, you can't, either way it goes, obviously, it's looking like we can't move either way it goes. So at the end of the day, something needs to be done.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. Something needs to be done. Not just wait. I understand. I'm respectfully understanding what the city attorney is saying. I always go exactly by what the city attorney is telling us. However, in this situation, I feel as though we can also move forward with what the city manager is advising or discussing, as well as on the other end, trying to get with the state of land lease. I got a lot of Googling to do
Now,
tonight.
will the Miller Group also be, they want to go through this process? See, that's where I guess we have to have that special meeting.
Commissioner
I mean,
Mervin,
right now,
Commissioner Mervin, the reason why I was posing that to the city, we talked in length about this. The reason why I was posing that type of scenario is because I want to get to a yes.
yes,
Period.
exactly.
And I want to get to the yes like yesterday.
Yes.
And if the state is saying, hey, guys, you need a competitive bid to get a yes from us. Let's put a competitive bid on the street. And if we're concerned about what's in that language, let's do a pre-draft of that competitive bid, send it to the state. Hey, is this what you want as a competitive bid? If that's a yes, let's advertise it, get it on the street. Whoever bids on it, if it's this group, another group, let's make a decision. Let's get those yeses and move forward. That's what I was asking the city attorney. You know, I'm trying to get to a yes because I know we've gotten 3 no's for 3 leases, and they're saying, City of Pahokee, you have to do this first to get a yes from us. And I'm trying to get a yes as soon as possible. That's why I asked the city attorney, can we draft a commercial bid, get it reviewed by the state first before we publicly advertise it to ensure everything's in there, and then let somebody bid on it?
Okay, basically, he has said he can do that, but it's gonna end up in this result. So if we wanna press forward, we can do that. If someone
I
put a
would wanna
motion
press
in
forward.
a second, although he's suggesting or recommended, probably not gonna be successful. We're saying, let's press forward. In addition, look at some other alternatives.
I would like to put in a motion to for this commission to allow the city attorney and the city manager to press forward.
No, it's gonna, for the state to approve it, it's gonna have.
Hold on, guys.
The requirements
Hold on.
in the statute for payment to the state for 138 acres.
And I think the audience, for your patience in this, I know it's hard not to talk when things are said that you don't agree with, but we do have sensitive equipment here and they're picking up all the conversation, so I appreciate that.
You know what,
Mayor,
Commissioner?
let me
I
make
really
my
do-
point
I
on
do
this so
agree. We
maybe I
really
can
need
be
to do- we
a
really need to
little
do a work.
clearer.
Okay.
In order, I can write a competitive bid,
Okay.
you know, it may take a week or so to do. And I'll send it to the state, and they'll say, okay, it has to meet Florida Administrative Code, Chapter 2-18, and it has to meet Florida Chapter 253 Florida statutes, which means it has to have the rental payments in there based on the fair market value of the 138 acres, and it has to have the per square foot rental rate for the submerged lands that are required for the marina. Those monies would go to the state of Florida. And that amount would be so prohibitive that the Miller Group or any other group would never bid on it. So you will waste 3 months, 4 months doing that, and you'll get the same result, a negative result. The only way you're going to get a positive result is to hire somebody that knows how to deal with submerged lands leases at the state of Florida to recommend to us how to deal with this and how to get this approved. If you do that, you stand a much greater chance of success than just throwing out an RFP or doing a pro forma state competitive bid, which we know in advance no one will bid on, because no one in the past has bid on that, not one time. The very first people that bid on your marina out there went to the state to get a waiver of all those leases, and they promised you they'd pay you 25%, for which they never paid you 25%. So no one is going to bid on that. No one.
City Attorney, I have a question. When they went to the state, did they get the waiver for those fees?
On the very first lease?
Did they get the waivers for those fees?
Yes, I did. In fact, I've given you all a copy of the board of, the agenda of the governor and cabinet that day that they gave them that waiver. And as part of that waiver, they had a current appraisal of the 138 acres. They figured out what the amount of rent would be required under the statute. They provided to the governor and cabinet what the rent would be under the submerged lands lease. And knowing all that information and based upon all the good things that that first lease alleged that they were going to do for the community, the governor and cabinet at that time said, we will waive the fees. That's the way we have to approach it this
Okay.
time if you're going to get anywhere on
Okay,
this.
so, I'm sorry.
Okay. My recommendation we're not gonna be able to solve this tonight, I don't think. I would suggest we have a workshop
Yes,
as
yes.
early as possible, and I would suggest Friday. We don't have a football game Friday. We do have the Tri-City Barbecue. Let's get together, have a workshop, and make a decision whether or not we're gonna press forward or we're gonna take the city attorney advice and do it the way he feel would be the best way to be successful. And that's in, what, 3 days, we'll have a workshop? I'm gonna ask the city manager. I don't know if you're gonna bring in any type of consultant or any, more
I would recommend,
players
I
at
would
the
prefer,
table.
I would prefer Monday because of what's going on Friday, but I'll appease the commission on however they want to do that, for a workshop on Friday. Just
Okay.
remember, you have a long day on
Monday's
Friday.
fine.
Yeah. But I know we've been here quite some time, but let me go back to what the city attorney's saying, because I, you know, we talk a lot. And, city attorney, you're saying if we do a commercial bid, we would have to go to the state along with that commercial bid, this investment group or whatever investment group, and also ask for a waiver of fees, which is previously already been waived for other groups previously. And you're saying we're taking a serious chance of them not waiving the fees if we do that.
No, I'm saying the commercial lease, the commercial bid, if the state's gonna approve a commercial bid, it's gonna have in there the automatic language regarding how much you have to pay the state. So you put that out for, that's the only thing they're gonna approve. So they'll approve that, you'll put it out for bid, and no one will respond. Okay, so you have to put together a package that you present to the state of why they should be waiving their fees for the city in this circumstance and under this particular lease. And then you have to present that to them in advance before you put it out for RFP.
Can we do that?
Not without a consultant. I don't think anyone in the city has the wherewithal to do that, and I'm certainly no marine consultant. The last time the head of the Marine Industry Association did it, maybe he's still available, I don't know. But you have not had anyone with the capacity to do that on your staff. And so the only way that I think you can do it is to hire a consultant. Unless you've got somebody that's been holding back a lot of knowledge.
Because this, when we do the workshop, that's gonna be the same conversation we have.
Same conversation. That's why I was just saying, but however.
You know, I mean, I'm willing to take the chance with a commercial bid and going to the state and then telling me no again.
Exactly.
But
That may
that's
be the
not my
conclusion
decision.
of the workshop. Let's not even call it a workshop. Let's call it a special meeting so we can vote
I'll take
on
the
our
chance.
direction as far as moving forward, whatever we want to do, whatever we decide. So Monday at 6 o'clock, we'll have a special meeting to finalize what strategy or what direction we're going to take as far as the marina, campground, and restaurant lease agreement. Could I get a motion to that effect?
A motion.
To agree to have a special meeting to discuss the marina, campground, and
I'd like to make a
restaurant?
motion to, for the commission to approve, to agree, for us to agree to, have a special meeting, set a date for a special meeting.
Monday,
Which will be
6 o'clock.
Monday at 6 p.m., December 4th, to further discuss the issues with the marina's lease.
Will the Milligan be able to come to this special meeting, or?
I'll contact them, I'm
Yeah,
sure they'll
it's
be here.
public, right, Ms. Wong? It's public,
Okay,
right?
so I'll second.
No, I was asking, that's okay, Commissioner. I was asking you, was it public? I didn't
Been
know.
moved. Been moved by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Mervin to hold a special meeting on Monday at 6 o'clock to make a decision on how we're gonna move forward with the Marina lease. Call for questions.
I agree, we need to do this. We need to be serious. It's time for our city to move. We don't have nothing going on in our city, and we really need to do this, guys. We can't drop the ball any longer. We need to do this. I agree.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holmes,
Absolutely.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The motion to have a special meeting passes unanimously Monday, 6 o'clock.
Don't let me keep you getting last night.
Okay.
Last month.
All right, we're going to move on. That's the end of your report, City Attorney.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Old business, we don't have any old business. On the new business, we have the Palm Beach County Sheriff Office report. Sir, you have anything for us?
Just two quick things, Mayor. We want to thank Carl Morrison, who provided a first responders luncheon for the first responders out here on Thanksgiving. And the Sheriff's Office this year, we exceeded our expectations. We delivered about 175 turkeys to the Glades area that went to the bridges here in Pahokee, bridges in Belle Glade and in South Bay directly.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have the appointment of the Zoning Adjustment and Planning Board members. We have a 5 board member. It's an active board. However, we have 2 new applicants who are seeking appointment to that board. We can continue with the 5. We can select 3 of the 5 and do the 2 new ones. We can take 4 and do 1. It's up to the city commission. But I will reiterate and emphasize those boards have a term for a purpose to allow others to serve. So you just take that in consideration. You have 2 new applicants. City clerk, did you contact each of the current board members, and did they all express interest to continue? I know Mr. York Health is not that well, but he's doing okay, but I'm just asking for a reference. Did you call or contact everyone currently serving?
I actually called them. I couldn't get in contact with 2 of them. Mr. Larson and Mr. Charles Rennicki, they are interested in still serving on the board. And normally, I would say the other 2 are because they've never missed a meeting and they've been active on that board.
Okay, so all 5 of them been pretty active and haven't really missed any meetings? 4? Okay, we got 4 currently, so we can actually reappoint those 4 if it's your pleasure, and then choose one of the 2 applicants, or appoint 3 and choose 2 of the applicants we have here.
I have a question. How many do you want to be on the board? Because if you have 4, if it should be 5,
You actually can
and
have 5
one
members on
alternate,
the
why don't we
board.
keep the
and-
4, add 1 that's here and make the other one an alternate?
Do we have in the ordinance a provision for an alternate?
Yes, actually, your ordinance says these members are supposed to be staggered in their terms. However, the clerk's office over the years have lost track of which terms are whose. So the idea is to start over again so you have a staggered term. You appoint 1 for 1 year, 2 for 2 years, 2 for 3 years, 2 alternates for 3 years.
Okay, in this case, if we're gonna select 5, we only have right now 1 alternate.
Yes.
Okay, let's see if we can get this done.
So,
The strategy would be to entertain a motion first to appoint the current 4 board members and then list their term of office. And then we'll take, out of the 2 applicants, 1 commissioner will make a recommendation to appoint one of those as a board member, and the second one would be an alternate.
So we're choosing someone?
Yeah, right now, we're gonna go ahead, I think the quickest way to get through this is to reappoint the current 4 board members, but we need to look at who they are and give them a period of service. You say one would be 3 years, one would be 2, and one would be 1 year as it stands?
1, 2, 2, and 2, 3.
2, 2, okay, and 1, 3. Okay, somebody give me some suggestions.
You
Okay, so you
have,
need a motion first, right?
Right, but in your motion, we need to look, we're gonna have to do this together and come up with a consensus. Who we want to serve the 3 years out of these 4 applicants?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so city clerk, which one that comes to the meeting, you say always to the meeting?
majority of all of them.
Who chaired it? Anybody chair?
Chair is, Mr. Larson. He's the chair.
So maybe, I'm just using this as a suggestion, Mr. Lawson is young, he come to all the meetings, maybe you wanna give him, and he's a chairperson, the 3-year term. That's an agreement? Okay, keep that in mind when you make the motion. The other 2 will have a 2-year term. Look at the remaining,
Need one more 3-year.
1 more 3-year?
Yes.
Okay, look at, who would be another strong candidate? Give us some,
Yes, we have.
Being that, Reniki
uh-huh,
has a background in construction,
right.
I would recommend him because we want a business owner and a construction owner. Someone that does construction, and it's one more thing they used to do in the past, but to keep somebody on there with some type of knowledge of what they're looking at when they're looking at plans.
Well, take it.
Okay.
That's the second consideration. So we got the 2 for the 3-year term. Now we need
2 years.
2 2-year. So the remaining 2 would be 2-year term of the current board members. Now somebody need to put forth that as a motion. And then the next step will be to appoint the last board member. Then the other one out of these 2 would be the alternate.
I make a motion, we agree to everything the mayor just said.
Okay. The motion was to reappoint the 4 current board members, 2 to a 3-year term, 2 to a 2-year term. We have the names of the 2 that's gonna serve the 3 years. This clerk has that, and the names are gonna be the 2 years. Okay, we got a motion. It's been motioned by Vice Mayor Holmes, properly seconded by Commissioner Mervin to reappoint the 4 current board members to their terms. Questions? Hearing none. Are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Holmes?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Mervin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker? Yes. Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. We have now appointed the 4 board members. We have 1 additional board member we need to appoint. You got 2 applications. Look over the application. I see one is a real estate broker.
I have one.
and-
I
huh?
have one that I want.
Okay, you gonna make a recommendation?
Yeah, I want to make a recommendation.
Go ahead.
I want to recommend Samuel J. Martello Jr.
He's here.
Oh, he's here. Yes.
Okay. And you can also include the other one as the alternate in your recommendation. Gonzalez.
Warren Gonzalez, yeah.
Okay.
Junior.
Been moved,
Second.
been second, been moved by Commissioner Hill, properly second by Commissioner Mervin, to appoint Martello as a board member. And this is gonna be for a 1-year term, and Gonzalez,
3 years.
this is
Alternate
No,
is 3
he's an
years.
alternate.
as an alternate for the next 3 years. We have a motion,
Wait, that's backwards, isn't it?
been, huh?
Isn't that backwards?
But that's part of, that's how the ordinance is written up. and
That may give them a time to actually end up becoming a board
Becoming an
member, because they got a
actual
longer
member.
service. He's just an alternate, he's not gonna be official unless someone is
Absent.
absent or whatever, so. May seem to look back, but we can take a look at it at some
Yeah.
point. Been moved, been properly seconded by Commissioner Mervin. Question. Hearing none. Ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Hill, second by Mervin.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Walker.
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, City Clerk. Now we have the citizen comments and general concerns. We have any comments, Carl, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Mr. Carl Morrison Senior.
Good evening again,
Good
ladies
evening.
and gentlemen.
See, it's good, see?
I'd like to thank the city attorney first for that brief history.
Yes.
It bothers me as far as how everyone up here is moving like you have a hot potato in your hand, pointing fingers at each other. That's to each and every one of you all. You all realize that with leadership, everything rises and falls on leadership. I said that 1,003 times. The problem with the Marina is this: you have rules and regulations. Go by those. You pay this man for legal advice. I'm looking at every one of y'all kicking against that. Why pay him for something you don't want to receive? You all need to do your job. Everything I'm hearing up here let me know y'all haven't did y'all homework. But yet you want to throw it on him. Look in the mirror. This to each and every one of you all. Take up the responsibility, do your homework, and just stop throwing everything on him. That goes to the ordinance too. That go to y'all too. Y'all don't come out till you want something for yourself. This city comprises more than the Marina. It's a full community, over that way and over this way. Let's get it together, people. And one other thing, Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
with
sir.
all due respect, you have to control your meetings better than what you're doing. You have to. Listen, let's be professionals. We know everyone is watching you. Do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are there any more comments, Carl, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Miss Sharon Colvin.
Yes, Sharon Colvin, 3096 Bacon Point Road. I've been sitting here and listening. In workshops, you have your workshops, but you don't accomplish anything. My question, city manager or attorney, you just tonight voted for this lobby group and paying them $4,000 a month. Why can't they get out and lobby for our city, for this Miller group, trying to help get this passed through? Whatever state people they need to go to, whatever needs to be done in Tallahassee. We're paying them $4,000 a month, let them work for that $40,000 a month. City manager or attorney, why not?
I was gonna make that recommendation on Monday that we utilize their services for, going to Tallahassee and being, you know, the mouthpiece for us. I agree with that. That was gonna be my recommendation on Monday.
I mean, we've got, you were talking about a consultant, but we've got these that can go up there already without paying someone else to come in and do something that they can do. And, you know, let's work where we're making some progress somewhere.
Right.
I mean, Vice Mayor Holmes a few meetings back said, get her done. Well, I'm not seeing anything much getting done, so let's do something where we're really getting something done. Can that be done with putting them out to contacting everyone that needs to be contacted? maybe the lawyer would have a idea of whom all that they need to contact. But let's use what we've got.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments, Madam Clerk?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we'll move to the correspondence, comments, and concerns of the city commission. Nurse.
We got
The street, name of the street.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll move to the, next on the agenda will be the renaming of East Main Street, Thomas Tillis Boulevard. What's your pleasure, commissioners?
Mel Tillis.
Mel Tillis.
I make the motion that I had kind of like made a little joke earlier. For y'all don't know Mel Tillis, he stutters, but he sing real smooth. But when he talk, he stutters, right? How you doing? But yes, but anyway, I make the motion that we rename East Main Street as Mel Tillis Boulevard in the great city of Pahokee, Florida.
I can second that.
Been moved by Vice Mayor Holmes and second by Commissioner Mervin to rename East Main Street Mel Tillis Boulevard. Call for questions. City Attorney, just a quick question on renaming of a street. Do we have to do any contacting of residents or businesses or any procedure matters?
Well, I think that you should do it by resolution. And I think that after you do it by resolution, you have to notify the post office. Other than that, and also you have to notify the county 911 system.
And the property appraiser's office, so they can change it legally.
Okay.
We may have a long list of people to notify.
Yeah, I think also the businesses. I remember when West Palm Beach tried to rename Palm Beach Lakes.
Yep.
The businesses screamed and yelled. Yeah.
And mainly what that does, sometimes they have to change the letterheads and things like that, additional expense. But even if they disagree or don't want it, they still can use their alias, their current address. They still could actually be technically able to use that. Okay, are there any additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Holmes?
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker? Yes. Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The renaming of East Main Street has been approved to be renamed Mel Tillis Boulevard by a unanimous 5-0 vote. Now we'll come to the correspondent comments, concerns of our city commissioners. We'll start with Commissioner Mervin.
Mayor Bab?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she have the football team celebration?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
public
just trying to get us
announcement.
out of here. Right. This is for discussion. And basically, we're not leading in this endeavor, but just acknowledging the community will be
And they are
trying
coming to, they are, like I said, just came to me tonight, coming to the meeting, but they did say, they expressed that they would come into the city hall to let the city manager know what they are planning on doing. I guess they're forming a committee, just to give a celebration for the football players, and I think it will be on December the 9th. So, I don't know who's on the committee or anything like that, but they will be coming in, as I was told, to let the city manager know that they
Now,
want to do this for the.
If we was talking about waiving any type of fee for the park, I'm not saying that's part of it, but that would require a vote of us if we were doing something like that. But
Well, that
are
might-
you bringing anything to the table as far as we need to vote on?
Well, they are asking for the users of the Martin Luther King Park, so they probably will be asking about waiving the permit fees and stuff like that. So maybe we could vote on that tonight. So they can,
You don't need a vote for that.
Okay.
Okay, so I will.
Yeah.
I'll let them know that they. That's it. What then? My comments. Gotta go work at 12.
Make it short.
My comment.
So we don't need to vote on that. Any other questions? So we can, okay. Commissioner Walker just wanted to clarify she wasn't violating the sunshine law. She was referring to us, the bus schedule that need to be addressed. We're gonna take the correspondence from the commissioners, starting with Commissioner Mervin.
I just want to say, I heard Ms. Carvin say about getting it done. Believe me, Ms. Carvin, we trying to get it done. I think all of us up here really want this to happen, and to just have to just find, you know, every now and then they'll get bumps in the road. But I really believe this with the city attorney and all, we're gonna get it done. It probably take a little process, but it will get done. But my next comment is to Mr. Morrison. I want to extend my apology for not making it to the Thanksgiving dinner. I did get the call and email, but when you called me then, I was in West Palm. I tried to get back, but I do extend my apology that I was not able to make that. And have a good night.
Thank you, Commissioner Mervin. Vice Mayor Holmes.
Real simple, real quickly, we need a hotel real bad. I'm almost tempted to go into my retirement and build one, but I don't think I can. That'll be a big hit. So, good night, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Walker.
Have a great night, okay? I love
Thank
you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Hill.
You guys know I normally don't say much, but guys, Commissioner Hill and the rest of us, we're really trying to get something done with that marina. Please understand and believe that. And everything that happened tonight, I just felt it was very constructive. And I want to let the city attorney know that you, and I know that I respect you to the utmost. However, there are things that it's just in certain situations, and this is one of them with the marina. I think that we need to really do a lot of more, like the citizen said, Mr. The one who always coming at us. But I just want you guys to know that we're trying very hard with this marina, because we do understand that that is our gold mine. And I look forward to continuing servicing my community. And good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Meeting adjourned.